All right, lots more still to come. You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV.
See you in a moment.
Overnight in connection with the disappearance of 33-year-old woman in South London.
Sarah Everard has not been seen since last Wednesday after visiting a friend in Clapham. Tom Barton is at the scene too quickly, according to England's chief medical officer.
The warning from Professor Chris Whitty comes amid concerns this morning that ethnic minority groups are at higher risk of illness and death with the virus because of the UK's what he called colour-blind vaccination programme. Nick Dixon is at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham. Nick, a number of doctors are saying that ethnic minority groups should now be prioritised for vaccines. Will that happen? Children out onto football pitches and get active again when restrictions on organised sport are lifted at the end of this month.
Jonathan Swain has been speaking with the England manager at St George's Park.
An investigation relating to comments made by Piers on this programme about the interview with Meghan and Harry. The watchdog received got lots
to talk about,
the papers. Haven't we? It's everywhere.
It's all
you know
over
it's
news.
Happened. I know it's what everyone's talking about at home this morning. You watch the programme because, you know, you've loved the sort of vigour of it and the controversy of it, and whether you liked him or hated him, people still watched. And that sort of is the point. We've got Piers and Maguire coming on for a bit to talk about the newspaper review.
Andrew Piers.
Andrew Piers, yeah, just to be clear, yeah.
And Kevin Maguire.
And look, you know, from our point of view, Piers is a unique individual. I've never met anyone like him.
Nope.
Someone who had no fear about how people saw him or, you know, the impact possibly about what he said had on other people. But, you know, lots of people this morning are gutted he's gone. And lots of people will be thinking, well, you know, it was a long time coming and it was long overdue. And that's the point of it, is that he ruffled feathers and he shook up everything on breakfast television, on all channels.
Yeah,
you know, it wasn't just
right.
about this show. He shook up the landscape of what we do, in the nature of what we do. So that can't be denied.
It has been a rollercoaster ride.
And you've been on it the whole time.
Yeah, we've had our ups and we've had our downs. And
you've suffered a lot of criticism and you've suffered a lot of sympathy over the years because you've sat there, you know.
We have had, as you know, as viewers, we have had our disagreements daily. I mean, there have been times when I've thought we haven't been able to agree on anything, on and off screen, of course. You know that. It's one of the dynamics of the programme. But Piers has made the decision to leave Good Morning Britain, and so it is looking very different this morning. But still ahead on the programme, of course, we're going to discuss that with Andrew Piers and Kevin Maguire. We're also going to discuss what's happening with lockdown restrictions and with this possibility, according to Chris Whitty, of a third wave.
And whether you should book your summer holidays. Greece have said from the end of May, we're welcoming Brits, you know, and lots of people will be clicking now, going, hang on a minute, maybe
So
Greece.
We've got the Transport Secretary,
yes,
Grant Shapps, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about that. First, though, let's get the news, travel and weather, wherever you are this morning. See you in a moment. Piers' departure from this programme is on many of the front pages this morning. Let's take a look at them. The Daily Mirror reports on Buckingham. So, joining us now, Andrew Piers and...
Facebook.
Oh,
should we do...
I'm sorry. We're going to speak to Andrew Piers and Kevin Maguire in just a moment. First, though, in a challenging year marked by the pandemic, violent protests and an assault on the US Capitol, Facebook continues to draw criticism for its part in the spread of misinformation.
The social media giant has long promised to play a bigger role in stopping the tide of conspiracy theories. It's now launched a campaign to help its users spot misleading posts. We're joined now by the Vice President for Northern of Music due to copywriting but can't deal with abusive posts. Somebody else saying, I've lost count of the number of times I've reported harmful or hateful content to Facebook. And
I've been told
I get a message
harmful
that no action is going to be taken. Facebook does nothing. Somebody else saying, I've reported videos of people being beheaded, sorry, that's a horrible word, and some pornographic images that are all apparently found they're not doing everything they can. Lots of people saying that they have reported content that then apparently doesn't go against their community rules. So there's plenty more to be done.
Still to come on the programme.
Right, 7:38. We're joined by the Mirror's Kevin Maguire, along with the Mail's Andrew Piers, and of course, Chair of Global. I'll say, of course,
School That they don't, the whole class doesn't have to isolate.
There is a huge discrepancy. You don't
and I'm the
isolate
parent of children at school.
You don't take 30
So
children.
let me give you an example. Rachel Clark, who is a doctor who we have featured numerous times on this programme, very outspoken about the government's handling of the pandemic. You really, really couldn't make this up.
Tests, which are less reliable than PCR, but...
To ethnic minorities.
Well, this is a trick.
You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV.
See you in a moment. It's a very different programme this morning.
Yes. Are you all right?
Yeah,
It's a big thing, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it was a shock and it's sort of happened and lots of people will feel very different things about it. Some people will be absolutely gutted this morning because they love the show and they love him in it. And lots of people will be saying, it's about time. You know, lots of people annoyed so many people and lots of people loved him. So there's a... But you sat there with him for how many years now?
More than 5 years.
More than
He's my
5
main
years.
presenting partner.
Yeah.
So his departure, obviously, is one of the reverberations that has come from this bombshell Harry and Meghan interview.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact that he's left this show has made news in America. I mean, I've had text messages from directors in LA saying it's on all the news networks out there. It's, you know, in terms of broadcasting, it's a big story. He's a big character, unique, really, in broadcasting. So, yeah, it's a moment for the show, actually, for all of us this morning.
That's a good way to describe it.
It is a moment.
And
yeah.
the show goes on.
And talking of shows going on,
yes,
actually, the real shows are out in the theatres and in the venues that have
and
been
they
empty
haven't
for so
been
long.
going on.
Yeah.
Catapulted from the factory floor in Manchester to the global stage, Russell Watson has had a remarkable career, and of course, he's a singing sensation.
18 months away from the stage, this summer, the man known as The Voice will perform again at the last night of the Heritage Proms, and Russell joins us now. Good morning to you. It's all...
And devastatingly, lots of people will have lost work and really struggling. What is it like for you when your main purpose is to be in front of an audience and that is taken away? And what stories are you hearing from people for whom this is, you know, their 100% livelihood, and that's been taken away from them?
Well, one of the big...
Morning. We have been very lucky to carry on working.
Well, yeah, lots of people have. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's yeah. Yes, as I've been reminded, I did Strictly during the pandemic, of course. Yes, but all of those things, you know. You made me say that.
Did you do?
I don't mention it often.
Who's you made me say that? The voice is in your head.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the thing, though, because it's not just about someone like Russell. Obviously, has made lots of money and can, you know, withstand that. It's everybody who works in the background, all the freelancers, all the, you know, all the runners, all the producers, everybody who need, you know, who totally out of work.
Have you got over Strictly? Yeah.
Do you know? Yeah, it lasted a week. I was down for a week and I'm fine.
And then you bounce back?
Yeah, bounce back. Everyone keeps asking me if I'm still dancing. Of course, not.
No.
No. No. Right, still ahead on Good Morning Britain. As Professor Chris Whitty...
We need vaccination passports. And what does he think about the confusion over testing in schools? Now, though, let's get the news, travel and weather where you are. See you in a moment. Lorraine is here at 9.
Morning. How y'all doing? Okay?
Yeah, it's a bit different this morning, Lorraine, I have to be honest.
It's very quiet. Very quiet, very calm. Tell you what, he will be missed. I know that Piers divided opinion. Of course he did. You know, there was that Marmite factor. But sometimes you'd hear people say, oh, I don't like him. But what's he saying? You know, it was that kind of thing, wasn't it, a little bit? So, yes, it will be a lot quieter and a lot calmer. But like I say, he definitely will be missed. He brought something quite extraordinary. I don't think breakfast television will ever be the same again, that's for sure.
I think unique is the word to describe Piers Morgan.
Absolutely.
You either loved him or, you know, in some cases, people hated him.
Yeah.
Hugely popular with many, many viewers, hugely controversial, many critics, but a big presence.
Huge presence. And actually, you know what? A very loyal friend is all I would say as well. You know, anybody that's ever been in trouble and that has needed his help, he has been there. So you have to take your hat off to him and wish him well for the future and whatever he decides to do.
We know from his history that when he leaves a job, it makes news.
Yes.
It becomes a big news story, and we're absolutely, all of us, including Piers, at the heart of that.
Yeah. I know, it's quite
this
remarkable,
morning.
isn't it? You could not make it up. As my old boss used to say, you couldn't make it up. and you certainly couldn't. Right, let me tell you what's coming up at 9. Kaiser Chiefs rookie.
Indeed.
Right, let's talk about these
lateral
COVID
flow tests.
Yes. So we were talking about it earlier because, of course, schools have gone back this week and there is already some issue around what happens if somebody tests positive in a school. So the point is this, that the policy at the moment, and Dr. Hillary's here to comment on it because we were talking about it as a sort of accurate test. Now, at the moment, if that test, the more accurate one, comes out as negative for that person, so it says you don't have COVID, at the moment, you still have to isolate and possibly the class has to isolate. Now, that seems a little bit counterintuitive to most people. And we've had a GP, Rachel Clark, who's very vocal, saying that's happened in her school to one of the children in her class.
The situation is different if the lateral flow test is done at home. Because if that test is positive and then a subsequent PCR test is negative, the pupil is released from isolation.
Why?
The Department of Education says they are taking this approach because tests conducted under supervision at school are less likely to be inaccurate. Go back to the royal interview. The palace has sought to bring to an end a turbulent few days for the monarchy, releasing a statement expressing the Queen's concern over those allegations of racism made by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
They added that the issues will be dealt with privately by the royal family. In a moment, we're going to speak to the Labour MP Clive Lewis.
Let us talk to Harmony Rose. We, of course, know her. She had meningitis. Just always lovely to see you. Have a fabulous day. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. I love grabbing and squeezing my arm, my favourite thing to do.
We love you, Harmony Rose. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. It is 8:54. Good Morning Britain is back tomorrow from 6, but it's time to join Lorraine.
Thank you both.